Okay, this is my psych in film assignment with Jacob Barnett and Matthew Moss. We're doing it over Private Leonard Lawrence, otherwise known as Private Pile from Full Metal Jacket. Private Pile is a mentally slow, handicapped. Uh, he's in poor physical health, and he's seen as lazy by the rest of his um, cadets, I guess is the right word. It takes place during the Vietnam War times. 1967 specifically is when his part of the movie takes place. Uh, it's on Paris Island, South Carolina, during Marine basic training. This is a time where mental health and disorders aren't really talked about. If you have any sort of mental disorder, mental illness, any physical disability, you're just seen as weak. There's no real support groups for this. Private Pile likely has PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, from his basic training. It's a disorder that develops when a person has experienced a shocking, terrifying event. Usually it occurs if you are directly involved with it or affected by it. Maybe like a natural disaster, a shooting, anything of the sort. Some of the signs and symptoms that you would typically get are flashbacks, trouble sleeping and nightmares, frightening thoughts, problems remembering things. You would avoid the memories about anything closely related to the traumatic event that you witnessed or were affected by. And you get to start to be kind of on edge all the time. You're very irritable, very always vigilant, you're always kind of easily startled. It also just brings around generally negative views about yourself or others. The most notable symptoms that Private Pile has are his vigilance. He's like kind of always like on guard. He's kind of like locked in the entire movie. He has negative feelings and extreme reactions, as you can see during the bathroom scene where he does eventually kill himself, as well as the drill sergeant. Symptoms that we don't really see is the loss of interest in activities and problems remembering, and flashbacks, of course. During the you don't see flashbacks because it's such a short amount of time. He never really leaves the traumatic situation that he's in. As well as like problems remembering, obviously he's still there, so you don't really get to see any of that. And then loss of interest in activities. For a little while, yes, he does seem to be kind of taken out of everything. He doesn't seem to be enjoying boot camp, which, I mean, you're obviously not supposed to, but he's very out of it. He can't load his gun. He can't do the tracks. But then later, when he starts to kind of lose himself, he like really figures everything out. He's like the fastest and the smartest in his whole squadron, battalion. I'm not sure what the word is. Contributing factors to his PTSD are definitely the soap scene. You see the soap scene where everybody who's training with him, they tie him down to his bed and they all beat him with little bars of soap that they put into their socks. They just beat him repeatedly. He's constantly antagonized by his fellow trainees and the drill sergeant. He is constantly getting bullied and called like fatso, and he has to eat the jelly donut in front of everybody else, and he's all given the nickname Gomer Pile because of his mental slowness. General basic training is always just a very hard thing to go through, and he's probably bullied recently or previously in his life because of his mental disability that he has, and I'm sure that his mental illness that he previously had didn't help at all either. Treatment, there's talk therapies, psychotherapies. These are your cognitive behavioral therapies. They typically work best. There's CPTs, EMDRs, and PEs. They typically take around 8 to 16 sessions. And you can take medication for these. Paroxetine, sertraline, and venlafaxine. Sorry. But these might not have been available for him because, as we talked, this takes place in 1967. These medicines probably didn't even exist or were just very, very early in the stages of their development. Talk therapies, some therapies were starting to come out, but again, this is a time where if you have a mental disorder, you're just seen as weak. You should just man up and get over it. For the cognitive behavioral therapies, the ethics, they could cause potential episodes. Talking about it that might be stressful for the person for private pile. And situational concerns, again, PTSD wasn't talked about then. Man up, get over it. Medications, ethical drawbacks, I don't see any. I don't see why there would be any drawbacks to having taking medications. The situational drawbacks, minimal research been done at the time. Did these medicines even exist? Probably not. And the film portrayal, again, seems to be very accurate to the disorder. You could absolutely make, in my opinion, a argument for other mental disorders. During the movie, you see that complete 180 switch that he makes from being like the dumb, lazy, fat guy of the team who's just the scapegoat to really, who doesn't know how to do anything, to really locking in and being able to load his gun the fastest. He starts to talk to his gun. So maybe he has some sort of schizophrenia there. And then he ends up just going completely insane and killing himself and his drill sergeant, maybe implying that he had some sort of dissociative identity disorder, multiple personalities. And that is it. I have sites listed down here and here where I got all of my information from besides the movie. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.